Screech by TarynMcT. Read by Oakshadow5. Chapter 24. Izuku stretched as he stood up. His sessions with Inui-san were always tense, but he also always felt at least a little better afterwards. Today had been an emergency session. After going the week, seeing Ida's empty desk, Izuku felt he couldn't wait for next Wednesday, so here they are, meeting on Saturday. They had discussed the events in Hosu. Izuku was still blaming himself for Ida's condition and Nato's death, but Inui-san was able to help him to see things more from the perspective that Shota tried to get him to see. Izuku acted correctly. His priorities were dealt with perfectly, and as good as he is, he can't be in multiple places at once. It still hurt, especially when he remembered that Ida had lost his arm and the use of his quirk on one of his legs, but he had to remind himself that he was still alive. If Ida wanted, he could probably get some support gear and manage to return to the hero course. The rest was up to him. Izuku had opened the door to Inui-san's office and saw Shota there waiting for him. As Shota stood up, Izuku leaned into him, silently demanding a hug, which Shota was more than willing to supply. Aizawa, Izuku and I discussed this, but I think it would be beneficial to him to move these sessions from every other week to twice weekly for now, Tuesday and Thursday. Would that work for you? Inui-san asked. Shota ran his fingers through Izuku's curls and nodded.
Yeah, that's fine. And if I'm not able to pick him up, he does have a slide license, so he can bring himself home if needed.
Inui-san nodded. On that note, I'll see you on Tuesday, Izuku. Have a good rest of your day, pup. Thank you, Inui-san. Izuku smiled as he left with Shota. As Izuku got into the front seat of the car, Shota turned to him.
Feeling better?
Izuku nodded. A little, yeah. I mean, I still feel I should have been able to do more, but I understand that what happened wasn't my fault. We discussed it, and neither of us could think of anything that I could have done differently that would have ensured everything worked out as well as they did. Izuku sighed. That's actually why we're moving these sessions to twice weekly. Inui-san says that I need to get it through my thick skull that when bad things happen during a crisis, it's not my fault if I can't stop at all, and that blaming myself is a great way to burn out before I even make my debut as a hero.
He's right, you know.
Shota said quietly as he started the car.
That's something every hero needs to learn. You just so happen to get to experience this early, but all of your classmates will experience this sooner or later.
They drove in silence for a few minutes before Izuku asked, Did that happen to you too? Shota didn't answer right away, but when he did, he was whispering.
Yeah, there used to be the three of us, Hisashi, me, and Oboro. During our second-year internships, Oboro and I were involved in an encounter. He was on evacuation, and I was fighting the villain. The villain managed to get away from me long enough to cause a building to come down. Oboro was trapped.
Shota took a deep breath and let it out.
I tried to distance myself from everyone after that, and if it weren't for Hisashi being too stubborn to let me go, I might not be here today. When he saw me spiraling, he practically dragged me around with him wherever he went until I was able to function by myself again.
Izuku chirped quietly. Thank you for sharing.
Of course, Zuko.
Shota reached over and ruffled his hair.
Now, enough depressing talk. How about we get some lunch before you head home?
So, we are totally going on a double date this weekend, Denki suddenly declared on Wednesday at lunch. We've been working really hard, and we deserve a break. Shoto slapped up a soba noodle and raised an eyebrow. A double date? Yeah, you and Hitoshi, and me and Izuku. Come on, it'll be fun, Denki pleaded. Hitoshi glanced at Izuku with a questioning look. You up for this? Izuku shrugged. I mean, someone has to keep Denki out of trouble. Hey! Denki laughed and put his arm around Izuku. I'm not that bad. Izuku giggled and leaned into Denki's side more. So, I was thinking either laser tag or an amusement park. Izuku chirped at the thought of laser tag, while Hitoshi shook his head adamantly.
No, you don't want to put Izuku in a dark room where you have to hide from him. You will lose. Even with 3-on-1, he won't stand a chance against my freaking owl of a brother.
That's what'll make it fun, Hito, Izuku grinned. I'm glad you take it all on. Hitoshi looked at Izuku and then turned to Denki.
If you make me go up against Izuku in laser tag and bring the parentals with me to at least attempt to make it a fair fight,
Hitoshi warned. Izuku started grinning like a maniac. Ooh, 5-on-1, now we're talking, let's do it.
I'll pass,
Shoto said.
It's going to end up being Aizawa against Izuku for nearly the entire time, before Izuku decides to stop playing with him.
Izuku hummed happily. I haven't been able to play in the dark with Shota for a while. Hitoshi pointed at Izuku.
That That right there. That's why we're not doing laser tag. I agreed to an amusement park, but I'm not crazy enough to go up against Izuku in laser tag in the dark.
Izuku poked Denki in the side and glanced up at him through his bangs. You know, I've never been to an amusement park. If those two are too scared to face me in laser tag, going to an amusement park sounds like fun. Amusement park it is then. Izuku stretched his wings wide as he landed on the roof of the building he was meeting Keigo on. He was still in a really good mood from the double date they had on Saturday. The four of them had spent the entire day at the amusement park, and it was great. Izuku retracted his wings and sat down, flopping on his back to just enjoy the breeze and wait for Keigo to show up. Hey there, baby bird, Keigo called out a few minutes later, dropping down next to Izuku. How you been? Izuku sat up with a huge grin. Kei, I heard about the fight you had earlier today. I didn't think you'd be here so soon. Ah, you know I wouldn't make you wait that long, Owlet. Keigo plopped down next to Izuku and put an arm around him, pulling him into a hug. So, how was your week? Izuku snuggled into Keigo's hug and said, For the most part, it was pretty normal. I told you last Monday that my therapy sessions moved to twice a week. That was pretty much the only thing that was really different. You said for the most part, so something was different? Keigo asked with a raised eyebrow. Izuku nodded with a grin. I went on my first double date on Saturday. Me and Denki, along with Toshio and Shoto, we went to the amusement park. Please tell me I'm not the only one who finds the roller coasters boring, Keigo exclaimed dramatically. I mean, I can fly faster than they can move. I know, right? Izuku chirped. I didn't say that to Denki, but yeah, the roller coasters were a little dull. I can do so much more maneuvering mid-air at much faster speeds, but he liked it. So did Toshi, actually, but I think Shoto was a little meh about it. Okay, so if the roller coasters were your thing, what else did you do there? Izuku's eyes lit up. I had cotton candy for the first time. It was so fluffy. Oh, here, look. Izuku pulled out his phone and showed Keigo a picture of him and Denki sharing a bright blue ball of fluffy candy, and then swiped to a picture of Hitoshi laughing at an indignant Shoto who was looking at a bit of pink cotton candy on his nose as if it personally offended him, before coming to another one of him with Denki feeding him a bite while Izuku blushed. Me and Denki had blue raspberry, and Hitoshi and Shoto had cherry. Keigo touched the little cell phone straps that were on Izuku's phone. These are new. Izuku blushed again. Yeah, Denki won those at a dart game at the amusement park. There were two straps attached to Izuku's phone. One was an adorable Pichu, and the other was a cute little Rowlet. I thought he was going to keep one, but he said they couldn't be separated, so he attached both to my phone. You have such a cute little boyfriend. I'm almost jealous, Keigo squealed, squeezing Izuku into a tight hug. Izuku nodded. Yeah, I really like him. Izuku was quiet for a moment, and then continued. Even when I'm not having a good day, Denki always seems to know what I need. I'm just worried that one day he'll realize I'm too much work, he whispered at the end. Nope, baby bird, don't think like that. Keigo tapped Izuku on the top of his head. The boy seems to genuinely care for you and wants to be with you. For now, but he's always doing things for me, and I haven't been able to do anything for him. I'm sure you have, you just don't realize it yet. Keigo tried to reassure him. Izuku shrugged. If you say so. Hey, where'd the happy little bird from a few minutes ago go? You were doing good, Owlet. What happened? Keigo asked. Izuku shrugged again. I don't know, it just snuck up on me. Well, you know who else is gonna sneak up on you? Keigo asked. What? Me! Keigo shouted and started tickling Izuku mercilessly. It had been a week since Katsuki had been arrested, and he'd finally been released. He'd had a session with an anger management therapist while he was locked up, and he'd gotten weekly sessions scheduled going forwards. They were supposed to help him to stop being so angry at everyone. But he wasn't angry at everyone. He was only angry at Deku. Everyone else just so happened to be nearby when he wanted to blow Deku the fuck up. But not today. He was going to go right up to Deku and explode his fucking face. Wait, no. He was going to talk to him. Just talk to him. His therapist said he was going to be going to prison for a long time if he didn't learn to get his temper under control, and attacking people wouldn't help. It was with that thought in mind that Katsuki stomped his way to Deku's place. He was going to have words with him, and he was going to keep himself from exploding, since he didn't want to hurt Auntie. Just Deku. Katsuki stomped up the stairs until he got to the apartment and had to stop himself from pounding on the door. Instead, he firmly knocked. After waiting a few minutes, the door was opened and a lady with vibrant blue hair stood in the doorway. Yes? Can I help you with something? Katsuki stared at her for a minute before glaring. What the hell is Auntie and Deku? He demanded. The lady looked at him with a confused expression. If you mean the former tenants, I'm not sure. My husband and I moved in about 3 months ago. Tch, whatever, he growled at her before stomping off again. Deku's running away from him, huh? He knows Katsuki is going to beat the shit out of him the next time he comes face to face with him. Well, he can try to hide, but Katsuki's going to find him, and he's going to make that useless fuck pay for what he did to Katsuki. Oh, the beginning of the chapter was so cute and all fluffy and stuff, with Izuku talking about his double date. And then we get to depression and Katsuki. But anyways, guys, I hope you all enjoyed chapter 24 of Screech, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!